to be treated. I was the type of guy where my position came with heat. If you wanted to be the leader, the strong defender, guys are going to come after you. Guys are going to try to chop the tree down. For example, somebody runs you, they knock you down, get a little snow on your pads. The benches start talking. That fueled me. I was the ultimate competitor. I actually, that's what I miss the most, is being able to respond to guys, being able to say no to people, sometimes saying no, not like a business guy where, I'm like, listen, bud, like, but, protect yourself at all times, be prepared to play, and treat people the way you want to be treated. I try my best to tell stories and experiences from my experiences to my players, but you got to make your own path too. Just because I did it doesn't mean you're going to do it. And I've been seeing a lot of internal drive from a couple of my core players in my group, and it's exciting to just be a coach and get to watch them and just give them the step and hope they take the step so they can find success,
Yeah, no, I thought those two questions were really important for the players and parents and coaches that are listening, because there's going to be guys that really challenge you as a number one pick, or a guy that's probably solidified to have a good chance at playing on the team to develop and all that. But also there's kids, I know at myself being young and a late bloomer, but also underdog, at times I was giving too much respect to some guys, like, where psychologically, mentally, you're just thinking like you're not fully going to try and undress a number one pick with dangles, or maybe finish your check that much harder on the guy. Like, at the same time, you gotta bring it, like you said, gotta be ready all the time and show that you can play with the big boys and the number one picks and all that type of stuff.
I was fortunate because at an early age, I had great coaching to identify my strengths, and that was what I continued to perfect. And looking back, I wish I added more aspect of offensive ability and skating and all that stuff. You look at Connor Bedard, he just went first overall the Pats, had an opportunity to talk to him. That's a lot of pressure. You got to score. Where I was fortunate, I didn't have to score. I had to make sure you didn't score. So there's really, for young players out there, identify with your coach, your skills coach, your parents, what you're really good at, how that makes sense at the pro level. Can you implement it at the pro level, and then keep working on all those other things? Because just because you can't score right now or you don't have good hands doesn't mean you can't keep working on it and they can improve. I've seen a lot of guys that play pro hockey that were doubted, didn't have a chance, and then all of a sudden they kept working, kept at it. And all these guys at the highest level, they all have one thing in common: is the work ethic. That's how they got there. Some guys, it's God-given and they can stay there because it's God-given. But most of the guys, for consistency, you have to keep training. You have to keep trying to improve little aspects of your game. And so that would be one piece of advice I would say to all parents. Identify your strengths, perfect them, and find your route that way. But add those things that everybody needs to work on something, right?
Before we move on about your program here, one last question is, if there are a few names that you can mention of guys that were hard to defend for you, guys that were shifty, guys that were, that just found a way sometimes. Was there anyone? Even minor hockey days, like you just remember, wow, this kid is tough to contain? Or
if I got you within a stick length, usually I was getting you, or I was getting a piece of you, or I was taking a penalty. One of those things.
Yeah.
But I got challenged every day by Jordan Eberle, and we had that big brother, little brother relationship. That early and often helped me out as well. Garrett Festerling, I had an opportunity to play with the Festerling brothers all growing up via Delta Hockey Academy with Vancouver Giants, Milan Lucic, Lance Boma, all these guys, Brennan Gallagher. Hey, I was getting challenged every single day. Every time we had a race in a sprint, every time we were at the gym, every time we were on the ice, it was always a competition. And surround yourself by like-minded people like yourself that work as hard as you, and you'll find progress in your everyday. There are so many guys that were dangerous. There were so many guys that were dangerous at the DEL level that should be in the NHL. I say it all the time. Even in beer league, once in a while, I play a little Div 1 here and there. I'm like, man, where this guy? It's a shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's who you know. What opportunity was presented to you? Did you take advantage of it at the right time? You know, so many different variables. We all know the crazy percentages.
Yeah,
I missed. We were going to start this little initiative in Bellingham. Hey, Colten Teubert, one-on-one. Everybody in Bellingham, anybody can beat me, get free lunch. So, hey, I'm always looking for somebody to challenge me one-on-one, still to this day. So,
and that's, looking back to in practices or anytime that competition, that's when it gets fun. Because as a scorer, throughout my career, I really enjoyed those guys that asked me, but I asked them, like when we're doing like around the circle, shoot on net type drill, we'd be counting how many goals we could get and come back to line. Oh, there's another, that's 3. Like we'd all, that's where it's fun rather than just skating around the circle every time and shooting and not really just cuts where we make a competition of it.
Oh, sorry, I lost my light there. There's a blooper for you. It's on a timer. Hey, that brings me to my next point. We're a non-profit here, Nate. All this stuff. Listen, I love my job. I do. I get an opportunity to work in youth sports. Everything as far as incoming money for us, it's meant to go back to kids out there. Your kid, someone else's kid in this area, and obviously we're dealing with this real heavy pandemic right now. Once we look to reopen, I really hope we can get that back on track. I was on the pathway of doing a lot of great things with the youth sports in this specific area. And I just look forward to getting back in my community relation role, which is getting out to schools, volunteering at recess. It was something that we started this year as an initiative. I know you've probably done something similar with one of your teams, reading to kids, etc. Hey, there's nothing better than having an athlete as a role model for these younger kids. Specifically, hey, we have NHL Seattle coming up in this area, and we really want to make sure that we're on top of this with our development in our youth. And hey, wouldn't it be cool? I always say my dream is to win a Stanley Cup. It still is. I don't have to win it personally. Maybe I can win it through somebody else. Maybe somebody I touch or train or get an opportunity to coach for one practice gets to lift it. And that's a lifelong goal. And I think I got at least 40 years of coaching in me, just being 30 here. So I got opportunity to grow, right?
Yeah.